Welcome to week 5 of M&A and PE. This week we'll be discussing what goes into a due diligence and what it means for the greater scheme of things in a share subscription. Now, before we get into what a due diligence is, I thought it would be useful for us to take a step back and to find out or to remind ourselves what is it that we're really after. Now, at the end of the day, the investor needs to be a shareholder in the target company with a few contractual arrangements. Now, in order to prove that the investor is a shareholder in the company, the investor needs three things. The first, share certificates in the investor's possession. Second, a shareholders resolution and a board resolution, which says that shares were actually issued to the investor. And third, the investor's name in the register of members. These three things, the share certificates, the resolutions, and the name of the investor in the shareholders register, mean that the investor is actually a shareholder in the company. Now, in the greater scheme of things, we've already covered one part, or the first step in the share issuance process, which is a preliminary contact between the promoter's company and the investor that has led to a term sheet. Now we get into the diligence mode. Following the diligence, within the diligence, we discover risk, and using our techniques of drafting and negotiation, we then allocate that risk either to the investor or to the company or to the promoter. How we allocate risk is a matter of great discussion, which we will do in weeks 6 and 7. Once agreements have been drafted, have been fully negotiated, agreed upon, and drafted, the company then meets to pass a special resolution authorizing the issuance of shares to the investor. At the same time, the offer letter has already been prepared. Now, this is the offer letter which we've talked about in the past, the private placement offer letter as part of PAS 3. At the same time, we also execute the share subscription agreement. Now, these might seem like discrete activities, one following the other, but in reality, in practice, they're actually done more or less on the same date at the same time. Within the share subscription agreement, there may be a few conditions precedent. These conditions precedent must be satisfied before we finally move to closing, which is an event where the shares are actually issued to the investor and the investor actually issues shares, actually transfers money to the company.